Alrighty. Hey everyone, welcome to my speech on Rise of the Hyperchain. My name is Daniel Lumi. I'm the Senior Product Manager of ZK Stack for ZK Sync. So today we'll be talking about our vision of how we scale blockchain to mass adoption. And first we'll go a little bit into what is Matter Labs, what is ZK Sync, how do they relate to each other. So Matter Labs is the original inventor and one of the core contributors of ZK Sync, right? We have other core contributors such as Moonsung Labs, we have Lambda Class, we have Transaction Sync, we have our Transaction Fusion, we have many other ones as well. So Matter Labs is one of the leading ZK companies, ZK research, ZK development. We've raised over $250 million, so we got a war chest. And we have 150 essentially world-class leading cryptographers, engineers, product. Everyone on our team is really world-class. ZK Sync is currently the leading L2 for metrics that really matter, such as active addresses, transactions, throughput, and just usage in general. Our goal for ZK Sync is essentially make a safe blockchain that's easy to use and then is cheap at any arbitrary scale, no matter how many TPS we get. And all of this is important to do without compromises. That's why we're in crypto. We want trustless systems. So today, we'll talk about the dilemma. Not trilemma, dilemma. Okay. So how does the internet scale? And this is sort of like the easiest mental model for this is, let's say you have a computer. You pull up a game, then you start opening other things like Excel, Chrome, and Chrome is probably going to be the one that actually crashes your computer, not the other ones. And you like it should be obvious. You can't run every single application in the world on one computer. Like you can't put the entire internet on one server and run it and pretend like that's going to scale up Moore's law. So how does the internet work? The internet, let's say you have 1,000 people going to apple.com. The first 1,000 people will get it from some IP address server A, right? And then we can just kind of add more servers. So the next 1,000 people will get it from a different server. And with this, you can get to any arbitrary scale. It scales horizontally, limitlessly. Not infinitely, but limitlessly. So again, if you have one server with X resources, you have 1x scale. If you have 3 servers with X scale or X resources, you have 3x scale. So it kind of scales with the amount of resources that you provide to it. So how does the blockchain scale? And the whole point of blockchain is consensus, right? This trustless system. So the way blockchain currently works is you need to, every single node on the network needs to re-execute every single transaction. Like it's not one computer doing it, it's every single server runs every single application. And you can't, it's the same thing, like you can't run the entire world's blockchain transactions or even a fraction of them on one server. Like this is like it should be obvious, but marketing talks, right? So this is the sort of dilemma. Like on y-axis you have sovereignty or decentralization, and then on x-axis you have scalability, right? So blockchains need to make this compromise. Either they have like proper sovereignty like Ethereum or Bitcoin, right? Or they can choose scale, and these are the ETH killers, right? They reduce decentralization to get a little bit more scalability, but they still have to run every single transaction, so at some point you're going to run out of resources. You can't have that many supercomputers, and even supercomputers cannot run the entire internet or the internet of value. So in blockchain, if you have one server with X resources, you have 1x scale. If you have 10 of them, you still have 1x scale because they're reaching consensus. If you have 1,000,000 of them, it doesn't scale at all. It just increases decentralization. So you might think, okay, we can just do it cross-chain, right? Run a bunch of separate like blockchains, connect them with some small multi-sig, right? The whole point of blockchain is to have trustless computers, trustless systems. If we break this constantly apart and pretend it's fine, use AWS, like it doesn't make sense. This is not the way for blockchain. Okay, so it's all over. Like we tried, sorry. I'm sorry, Vitalik, we really tried. Let's quit our jobs and go to banking, right? No, we have a solution. This is called the hyperchain. We call this the hyperchain. And ZK is the end game. We'll get back to this. I guarantee you I can convince you of this. So the hyperchain, our hyperchain is made up of essentially two components. One is the core of every system, and then sort of the framework that ties it together. So let's talk about core, the start of an era. So era itself is built on the same technology that every single hyperchain that wants to build on this hyperchain is built of. So when we upgrade something to core, the L2, every single one of them inherits the same benefits. Right, so here's some core features. It's kind of hard to explain the decisions that we made over 5 years with world-class like engineers and cryptographers, and how that's different from any zk-L2 or blockchain or optimistic rollout. It speaks in numbers, so we can go through a couple of these. So we targeted from the beginning high scalability. Like if we can do only 5 to 10 TPS like some competitors, that's not going to scale to anything. We're all in a giant casino and this doesn't make sense. We're lying to ourselves. So we targeted high growth. It's currently up to 100 to 200 DEX swaps a second, right? We're going to get orders of magnitude more than that soon, on order soon. It's cheaper than any other L2, ZK Sync is. It's about 10 times cheaper than some competitors, and it's like 3 times cheaper than optimistic fraud-proof protocols, right? So this speaks to some of like the hardcore engineering underneath that's hard to see. And our prover system can be run on like as little as 6 gigabytes of GPU RAM, DRAM. That's consumer grade. Like this laptop, actually I don't know about the Air. My M3 MacBook has way more GPU RAM than that. So this is one of those things of like, again, state diffs. Maybe you've heard of state diffs. Hard to explain, very technical. The point is, every other L2, essentially except Starkware, publishes full transaction data on chain. The data is the expensive part. We only publish the delta, the difference. So if I send you 10 USDC, you send it back, I send it to you, you send it back, I send it to you, you send it back, that's no update. Because I ended up with the 10 USDC, the difference of the accounts did not change at all. Right, so this makes it cheaper to do any transaction. It allows us to do like ridiculously frequent Oracle updates. You can mint like, okay, Martin's gonna hate me for this. You can mint literally millions of NFTs for next to nothing. We're still working on that part. We have an idea, right? And you can do a lot of other cool things like on-chain privacy or Validium. With state diffs is really the best way to do these things. We do have native account abstraction. So it's built into our protocol unlike any other EVM L2. So you can pay your transaction fee in MetaMask in USDC, right? You have you send your mom USDC, they can make a payment, they don't have to think of what gas token is, what ETH is in between. It also allows you other things that are critical for user experience for normal users, like social recovery, not dealing with like seed phrases. Like Enclave has like, I can sign a transaction with the secure enclave of your phone. Like there's a lot of really exciting things that come from account abstraction. And to really maximize those, it needs to be native account abstraction. So the other thing that you get is we're starting to, okay, I guess this is an opinion that I shouldn't say. We're starting to be in a bull market, right? As Ethereum gas prices go up, both the execution gas and the data gas, these fees are going to go up the same way it did for Ethereum, right? It's not going to be pretty in a while. Like we've geared it in a way that it's going to be as cheap as possible. We have concrete steps, but Validium and ZK Porter, so Volition, allow you to have essentially fixed prices, right? And we actually have some published numbers for this. It's going to be easily under a cent, and it's going to stay easily under a cent sustainably without subsidizing or dumping tokens on users to pretend like the fee isn't high. This is the real cost. And again, these moment to moment, like MetaMask is a good example. It seems like they haven't done much. They do a shit ton in security. Same do we. We spend over $6.5 million in audits. We spend like every moment of our waking hours thinking of how to keep it secure. Here we're unrevealing. We're announcing SGX. So essentially, you can do a second signature through a trusted element, and even if the ZK prover system has a bug, no one can steal any money. If the Intel has bug, no one can steal any money. You would literally have to hack our prover, Intel, the core chip, governance, and other measures to steal any money from the ZKL2. We are making a heavy focus on dev tooling. We already have Foundry, we have Remix, we have Hard Hat. Those are going to be even better solutions. This is critical for us, and we're making a massive push this year for user experience, for developer tooling, making it easy to come across. And ZK Sync, like, we love the EVM. We're super Ethereum aligned. That doesn't mean we can't improve it. And we make the pledge to make this mass market adoptable. And again, it's hard to explain 5 years of decisions. Every L2 is really, really different. You can't just slap on ZK onto another protocol and pretend that's the same as optimizing it for 5 years. It won't reach mass scale. So again, this is the core of every hyperchain, and much more than that, but every single hyperchain has these core features and has the same 100 to 200 TPS, and it can scale. So then comes this sort of framework that kind of ties it together, and that's my product, the ZK Stack, right? That's what enables Hyperchain. So again, think of it an easy way to spin up chains, and then also the layer between connecting them all trustlessly. Let's see if this loads. So ZK Stack is essentially a modular, developer-friendly framework that makes it really easy for you to customize and boot up a chain quickly, validity, privacy, different modes. Like, you can choose a custom gas token, so you have value accrual to your token that can be used as the base fee. And actually, there's a lot of value accrual mechanisms. You can choose to have a private blockchain or a public blockchain. And you can choose different sequencer layers, etc. It just makes it easy for you to select the things that matter to your protocol without compromising on security at all. And this is essentially what enables the future-proof internet scale, right? And the key part to that is ZK, right? ZK enables you to do trustless bridging between all of the different protocols, and that's what allows you to share users and liquidity without any extra security compromises. All of the chains have more or less the same exact security compromise. Yeah, this one's heavier. So let's say you have funds on ERA, right? And you want to send it to Chronos chain. Essentially, you can sign one transaction. It goes through automatically to Chronos, swaps it against ETH to USDC, for example, or USDC to ETH. Actually, yeah, whatever. And then it sends it back. And you didn't have to pay attention to what chain you're using. It just kind of works. It feels like one giant shared computer, right? And this is what makes the Internet of Value possible. Similar to Web 2, you connect to Wi-Fi. You go to apple.com. You don't have to think of where their front end is hosted. You don't have to think about where their user database is hosted or which version you're doing. It just kind of works. And there's like a lot of cool application designs you can do where it's not app chains. It's execution sharding. And you can change the design to scale, like to internet scale. ZK is the end game. Like this is the answer. Like this was all bullshit until we came up with this. Like Ethereum tried this too, didn't come up with an answer. It will in the future. But we needed to spend years to get to this point that we can finally make blockchain reach a mass market. And this kind of brings us to like the hyperchain ecosystem, right? All of these different protocols, like Chronos, backed by Crypto.com, a addressable user base of over 80 million people. You have ZK Candy, the largest game developer in all of Southeast Asia, and New Zealand and Australia. They've made games you've played. I guarantee you, it's huge, right? We have Tradable, who has over $9 billion in asset originations of real-world assets coming on chain. Gravity is one of like a really well-made off-chain order book that inherits the security of Ethereum, and you can do actual real finance world. And we have so many more. Like, I honestly wish I could reveal everything. Like, we've signed at least 10. We're in conversations with easily over 50, 75. These are central banks. These are banks. Like, these are major sports franchises, not the teams, the sports franchises. These are real world use cases, not just putting like a shitty little NFT in pretending like that's something that's going to work, right? Like, NFTs are cool, don't get me wrong, but we selectively fund projects that can reach to mass market adoption. We want people to use it without knowing that there's blockchain. It just kind of works. And if we don't, Matter Labs as a team doesn't fund them, doesn't help them. But all of this, all of this is essentially one ecosystem working together. If you have 3 chains, it's not 3x the amount of users. The more each of them make, the more each of them like cool tools, cool use cases, the more each of them bring users, applications, liquidity, it actually grows exponentially. Similar to Ethereum, like you don't have one team building applications. All of the teams build together and it creates this massive network effect. And the key part of this is everything we make at Matter Labs is Ethereum aligned. We care about this ecosystem. We care about the values, the decentralization, the permissionless. Everything we make is open source. No one can stop you from using this code for free forever. No one can stop you from withdrawing funds no matter which chain it's on. We make sure that ZK Stack protects the users and makes it one cohesive ecosystem. And you can join the future. Like, you can spin up a ZK Stack chain now. And it's fairly easy, actually. You also have RAS providers that make it really, really easy to just like click and deploy a hyperchain. You can, for the next 2 days still, try ZK Quest 2.0. That number is wrong for free ETH. It's gone up. Shit. We should have thought about that before we printed the flyers. It's about $300 of free ETH. You just have to work for it. But it's like, it's fun quest. You get NFTs that'll be burned. You get free swag. Shit, I didn't bring my cat hat. But sign up, come up to me afterwards. I can generate you a QR code. And you can follow me on X. I'm Daniel Lumi. Definitely follow ZK Sync on Twitter. You'll hear a lot of exciting announcements over this year as well. And again, ZK is the end game. Remember that. It's hard to explain why it's the end game. It takes a little bit longer. It takes speeches. It takes sitting down with someone. Like Vitalik said this too, like it's how we get to mass market adoption. And this is also the end of the presentation, which you're welcome to download and share as you wish, copy content, whatever you want to do. Everything we make is open source. And that's it. Thank you.